Because then I
All
won't
right.
have to. All right.
We're
So,
recording now, but you still might want to write things down. At least I know my experience is I'll write things down. The first thing you want to write down is that it's 2:14 p.m. and we just started the recording.
okay.
This way you can, like when you think of something brilliant, we can recognize the time, write that down, and write down whatever note you have. That way you can go back and listen to just that part. Otherwise, you'll find yourself spending triple and double time
Hours looking at that. Okay.
doing the same thing over and over again.
Here's step. So you're thinking heart shift.
I'm kind of thinking that this would be the heart shift column. The middle would be the quantum shift column, and the right would be the stages of love. Now, while it's coming out of my mouth, I just kind of realized the heart shift is a 3-hour program. The stages of love is a 3-hour program. The heart shift, the quantum shift is our event. It's the thing I think we're going to be selling. So it should be probably a bigger deal.
Yeah, and I would move it to the left just because our culture moves left to right.
Well, in my mind, I thought I kind of saw this, the heart shift small, the stages of love small, the quantum shift big. Like
Okay.
these stand back. That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
But
Okay.
you're kind of thinking, see, the reason I had the heart shift on the left to begin with is because in my mind, if you don't have the distinctions of the heart shift, the quantum evolution is probably not going to work for you.
Yeah. Well, then maybe the other thing, and I can mess with this as a design idea, but maybe, I don't know, can you see that at all? So maybe they get stacked.
Yeah.
Maybe they get stacked this way so that this is your umbrella, the quantum evolution, and then the other part is the heart, the cracks of life unfolding, because now you're perceiving it as you go along, that you're getting deeper, and then you can say the heart shift, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is like, then you can actually tell people, if you don't get this isn't, so you're going this way.
So maybe so don't make the practice of honoring life unfolding separate from the quantum.
Right. That's a subhead. I get that.
Okay. Then I like your idea, the heart shift, and maybe it says the heart shift, the foundational program or
Yes,
the
right.
primary program, and then maybe there's an explanation.
Yes.
Hours of creating distinctions in the world of quantum meets life, or I don't know,
Yeah.
quantum meets living.
And I like the idea of having the video. Vishna from Mind Valley, he uses that a lot. Like, he'll have a little clip of himself, and it's very informal. I mean, it looks great, right? And it's like, we've got this coming up, blah blah blah, and it's like, if you bond with him, you're in his game. It's exactly what you talk about. It's very short, and he tells you what's up. Of course, his site is, it's huge by now, but essentially he's still doing the same thing. So
he must have started somewhere.
Yeah.
Nobody came out of the gate having the way he's got it. That's how I think about Anthony Robbins. I do not like his website, but it's not important to like his website because his website no longer sells him. His website now is a resource for people who are already his.
Yeah.
And they go to what they want that he's doing.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Okay, I kind of got that. So I think. So I'm gonna toy with that. Heart shift, quantum shift, stages of love. I got it, and then it really comes down to, like, how does that get presented so that people get how it needs to flow for them to get trained in that. Because that's really the most important thing is like, so,
Yeah.
because, and you're saying that heart shift is 1, and then 2 is quantum, and 3 is stages. And are you going to I'm curious, are you going to present Stages of Love as a, mainly as a couples idea?
I'm thinking that I'm going to keep it as a relationship idea.
Relationship idea. Yeah. Got it. Okay, let's do some backstory.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm writing down that it's 2:20, and we're starting clips of the backstory. And what I thought I would do, because I just don't know what to do, so what I thought I would do is start at the beginning, and I'm just going to tell you stories.
Yeah.
And then whatever you cling on to, maybe you can write down a key word or something so that I can go back and then we can polish something.
Yeah.
Kind of what I'm thinking. So, I had already shared with you that I remember as a very young boy, I got, I wanted a blackboard. Like I wanted a blackboard, a chalkboard so bad I could taste it, right? And I got one. And I remember setting it up, and I remember setting my 3 little brothers right in front of that chalkboard. These were little kids. They didn't know how to write or nothing. And I am up there teaching them. I wish I could remember now what I was teaching, but I was teaching something, and they were very attentive, and they were very involved, and they were learning something. So it's no, here it is. It's, 50 plus years later, and my brothers are still in my rooms. I coach them in their relationships.
Yeah.
They're on my calls. I mean, it's just mind-blowing, right? It's mind-blowing to even think about that.
Yeah.
So that's one little story. Like, there is something. So the quantum self over here longs to spin something and to bring people together. Longs for that. So there is that deepest longing over here, right? That gets expressed by the quantum self where I am. And then I remember very young, 6, 7 years old maybe, getting a physics book for my birthday. Now, you hear 6 years old physics book, you think, what the hell? But it was a little bitty physics book, and it had pictures and explanations. And I remember seeing a picture of a microscope, and I remember seeing reflections of light and things. In fact, later in my life, I got a microscope, and these were very important to me. Biology and physics seemed to be a big deal to me, but I didn't grow up in an environment where that was polished.
Yeah.
It just went as far as it went, and that was that.
But where did you get the idea of even of physics? Do you remember where that even came up?
I didn't ask for this book. It was given to me, and when I got it, I was immediately fascinated. Probably like you were with music, with the guitar. Yeah. It was an immediate fascination.
Yeah.
And I carried that book everywhere I went. I mean, I always had it. And I remember always trying to do little experiments. And then I joined the 4-H club. And these were very attractive to me. So that's a little bit of backstory. I did nothing with it. In fact, I started getting older, and I remember I got married when I was 20.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So around, and Melody and I, we started living together, I think when I was 17 or 18. And I was waiting tables. And it wasn't like a high class restaurant. I mean, I waited tables at Steak and Shake, and, you know,
Yeah.
and I remember driving somewhere. Oh, and by the way, I always ran out of gas. I always prayed to the gas gods as I was driving, because I'd have $3 in my pocket and I'd be on empty, and I needed cigarettes, and I had to decide, is it going to be gasoline, cigarettes, or lunch? You know, I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
And cigarettes and lunch always won, which meant I would inevitably run out of gas. And I on this particular day, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I have no future. I mean, really, I have no future.
Yeah.
And it was staggering. I remember being staggered by it. And that's how I ended up going to hair school. Because I thought, well, you're not going to go to hair school. It's kind of easy. And, you know, I'm not really interested in that, but it would be attractive to me. So I went. Well, it wasn't easy. So I learned something right then, like, oh, shit, even the things I think are easy are not that easy. Yeah. And, but anyway, I finished, and I came out of school, hair school, and one of my clients gave me a set of audio tapes. Zig Ziglar.
Oh, yeah.
Me at the top. And I don't remember the conversation she and I had exactly, except she said something to me like, I think you would love these. You're so charismatic. I didn't even know what the word meant. It meant nothing to me.
How old are you about now?
Let's see. I must have been 20, because I went to hair school at 20, 19, 20, and I got married. All these things at the same time. The guy who's going nowhere is going to get married. I have no idea where the hell that came from. And then, so I was about 20. And she said, you know, I want these tapes back, but I really, every time I listen to them, I think of you, and I just think that you would really enjoy them. And I said, okay, and I was really flattered. I really was. And I told her I would listen to them.
Right.
And I didn't want to. I remember I got up the next day and I looked at those tapes and I thought, why did I tell her I'd listen to these? So I popped one in. Oh, boy. I hated listening to this guy. I can still remember him saying, you know, you can hear people clapping, and he goes, thank you very, very much. I remember that his exact accent, you know, and I thought, oh, I cannot listen to 10 tapes, 2 sides of this man. And I tried so hard, and I would stop it, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. But some reason, it was really important to me that I told her I would, that I did it.
Yeah, right.
This was not, I don't want you to think that that was common to my personality at that time. It was not.
Right.
But for some reason, in this instance, it was important to me. So I listened to him. And when I got through the first time, I was so fondly in love with Zig Ziglar. I listened to those tapes every single solitary day. And at the end of his tapes, every single one, he would say this. Now, perhaps you know friends or relatives who might get value out of this material. However, it is copyrighted. So see the address on the box so they can get their own legal copy. Well, I wanted my own legal copy, but I couldn't afford it. So I copied every single tape. But as soon as I could afford it, I bought them, even though I'd already listened to the copies 100 times minimum.
Yeah.
And that was the awakening for me, was this is my work. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to do. And I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but I am not going to work behind the chair.
Yeah.
And I got my first sales job.
In hair?
In hair. So it gave me the connection to where I am, and all the actual W-2 jobs I've ever had were directly connected to that moment. And so I got into sales, and then I got promoted to a sales manager after a few years, and then I became a sales trainer. So now I work with and train people in field sales. That's what I do. And okay, so that's kind of what got me to being the speaking guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go back a little bit, and I was always a lover. I mean, man, I came into the world as a lover. I was fascinated by what brought people together, and I was really fascinated by what kept them together. It was so weird to me. It was like couples that stayed together, and yet in my mind, it would be like they shouldn't be together. And couples who broke up, they seemed like the perfect couple. I just never could understand couples. You know, it was very weird to me. And I have no idea where I was going with that, other than I was a lover, and I was fascinated with that kind of thing. So I was with my partner, JP. We lived in North Carolina, and we were together for 9 years, and I got promoted, and my company was moving me to California, and they agreed to move him as my family. And so they moved him and I out here, and they helped us secure a home and did all kinds of stuff. It was great. It was actually LA is where I started. And that was in 1990. And in 1993, I got promoted again, and they moved us up here. That's how I ended up in Northern California. Well, before we got moved up here, it was my birthday, and JP asked me, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I would like to have unprotected sex." Because this was the 80s, 90s, right? And if you were a gay man, you know, it was Russian roulette to have unprotected sex. So we had been together all those years. We had never had unprotected sex. I said, "I'd like to get tested so that we can have unprotected sex." And he said, "Really? Okay." And I said, "Is there anything that would make you fearful of having that test done?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Great." So we went together, and in those days you could do all these things together. We went together, and we got the test done. And in those days you had to wait 2 weeks.
Right.
So the 2-week mark was the same day we were going to go to Hawaii for my birthday. So we're on the way to the airport, and we stop at the doctor's office to pick up our results. And we go inside, and the doctor says, "Which one of you is Thomas?" And I said, "I am." He said, "You're negative." Well, just the way he said it, and the fact that he singled me out, I mean, we knew immediately that he was positive. And he said, and you know, they didn't have any training in how to do this in those days. It was not compassionate. It was very hurtful. The doctor had no intention of hurting us, I know. But it was a sex disease, and sex diseases carried with it an attitude.
Right.
You know, like somehow you deserved it. And he said, so you're Jesse? He said, yes. He said, well, you're positive, and don't even think that it was a mistake. We tested it 3 times and it came back positive all 3 times. What we have no idea of is how long you've had it. So we recommend that you go ahead and start treatment right away. And the only treatment we have is AZT.
Right.
He was 29 years old, and they started him on AZT. I quit my job, and I started a payroll processing company so that I could come home every night. Because from the moment he was diagnosed, it was downhill from there. Yeah. What I know now that we didn't know then was AZT killed him.
Right.
Not HIV. Yeah, he was a thin man anyway. He had gotten, within 3 months, he was down to like 98 pounds.
Yeah.
He looked horrible. People stared at us, and it got my goat when I would take him out anywhere and people would stare. It took everything I had not to just fucking hit people.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a knack of hitting people with my eyes. I mean, I have daggers in my eyes, and I would use them sometimes. And every now and then he would just touch me gently. Don't worry about it. It's okay. And I knew he meant it, and I could let it go, you know?
Yeah.
But so 9 months later, he got diagnosed in February, and on Thanksgiving Day, 1994, he is laying in bed and he's in a lot of pain. Here's the kind of pain he's in. If you can imagine, you're laying down flat and you're in so much pain that you keep throwing your body up and back, and you just keep slamming yourself back into the bed because you just got to do something, and nothing is giving you relief. And I finally got morphine approved, and I had to search all over San Jose trying to find the morphine because nobody carried it. It was liquid morphine. Nobody carried it. Every place I went, they didn't have it. And finally, I found it. I got a fucking speeding ticket getting it, and I got a fucking speeding ticket coming back, which was just weird to me. So I got got inside, and I said, I have morphine, and he stopped and got it under his tongue, and he started to quiet down, and before long, he was in a coma.
Yeah.
While he was in the coma, I started thinking. Now, I had been thinking, of course, but on this day, the thoughts were really deep, and I was not happy with who I was.
Right.
I was not a good partner. I don't even think, Robert, I don't even think I was a good person. And I don't mean that I was a bad person, but he deserves so much better than me. I was so unfaithful, such a slut. I mean, if anybody was going to die, it should have been me. And that's what I was thinking. And, but I was always safe. I mean, I've been safe. I was very lucky. When I was very young, a fisherman took an interest in me. And he and I would have sex once in a while. And he was always so great with me. And one day he came back. He had been out to sea for 6 months. He came back. He said, something's happening, and I don't know what it is, but it's happening to gay men. Don't have sex without a condom. Now, this was fucking 81, maybe. I don't know. It was early on. And I said, okay. And I took heed in what he said. Saved my life. Saved my life, really. So, anyhow, so he's dying, and I'm thinking, he's now dead. Let's just say he's dead. And I made a decision that I was going to change my life, that I was going to be a man of integrity, that I was going to find something or somebody who could help me become the man I wanted to be. And that led me to the Entrepreneurial Edge with Patricia McDade. Patricia was my very first coach. She was my coach for 10, maybe 12 years.
And she's local to where you live in San Jose?
No, she actually was in LA.
Oh, you were in LA, I'm sorry.
No, we had already, he died here in San Jose. We lived in San Jose. But she did her program one weekend in LA, one weekend up here. And it was 1 weekend a month for 10 months. That's how the program worked. She is the one, by the way, who designed the Introduction Leaders Program for Warner.
So back up though. So how did you even hear about her or that realm?
Well, I had my payroll processing company, and I also had a nightclub, Hamburger Mary's. I owned Hamburger Mary's in San Jose. And my payroll company was upstairs, the restaurant and the nightclub was downstairs, and I could go home every night and take care of JP. And Joanne worked for me. And she was seeing a breath coach. And the breath coach was involved with Patricia. And she had invited Joanne to look at it, and Joanne told me about it. And I said, I'll go. So we went to this introduction. And I had no intention of doing it. It was very expensive. It was $3,200 a year back then, you know. And I had no intention of doing it. I knew nothing about Landmark or anything transformational. I knew nothing. But on my way out, a man stopped me. To this day, I don't know who he was. And I've never seen him again. And if I did see him again, I don't know it. He said, so what did you think? And I said, I was pretty interested. And he said, are you going to do it? And I said, probably not. He said, well, can I ask you a couple questions? I said, yeah. He goes, what are your goals for this year or next year or something? And I spit up 2 or 3 goals that I had. And he said, how long do you think it's going to take you to do that? And I said, oh, maybe 5 years. And he goes, what if I told you that if you did this program, you would have all of that and more in the first year? And there was a way he said it. There's a way that it touched me. And I said, okay. And I did it. And I did it every year for, let's see, that was 1995. And then I became designated in 2005. So 10 years, because when I became designated at Landmark, I couldn't handle the time commitment of both of them. And, but that is what started me down the road of being a transformational leader, that I had something to say and I wanted it to be expressed, and Landmark was my first vehicle to do that. And one of the things that made me successful as a seminar leader inside the seminar leader body, I'm not even talking about people who don't know the seminar leader body. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a forum leader body, there's a seminar leader body. I was successful inside the seminar leader body, and what made me successful, I didn't know it then, I know it now, was I brought everything to leading. I didn't pick up their piece of paper.
Oh, yeah.
I brought everything. I mean, I brought my heart to it. It was my soul. It was my life. And so there was so much that I spun into the work that was my own.
Yeah.
And when people wanted to learn to lead, that's the part I couldn't teach. I could teach them what was on the paper. I couldn't teach them what came out of my soul.
Right. But, you know, I'll tell you, when I first started going to your seminars and seeing other people do the seminars, was the thing that I knew when I was sitting in your room is that you were going through the work as I was going through the work. And see, so I always felt like then I was partnered. Like I wasn't being like, here's your blah, blah, blah. I mean, because you would come, you were in it with us.
Yes.
And that fire that came out of that, because you would come back with realizations about what you realized, and that there was something that would always open up the room to go, you know, it's like when people talk about their mistakes, then all of a sudden you can relate to like, you know, like I like, you know, Tim Ferriss, right?
Yeah.
And he'll talk about, he goes, I know you guys look at us, it's like, oh, we made $1 million and we're like this incredible biohack. He goes, let me tell you how about my last week. I stayed in bed with the covers over me until noon because I just couldn't bear to get out of bed. I just couldn't face the day. And when he said that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, right, of course. And that's what you would always have, see, because you would talk about what you, not only just what you got, but also how you failed at achieving what you were set out to do. Because then all of a sudden I could go, well, yeah, you know, I said fuck you to a little baby. So,
yeah. Well, one of the things that I think could be important in my backstory is that I started the Stages of Love because I believed that I had a message to the heart of people in love. And I'm not going to say that I don't have a message for them. I do. But I really thought that was the message. And what was the driving force behind it was I did not want to step on anything that I developed inside of Landmark because I didn't want to take Landmark's work and use it some other way. I wanted, because I had a word in the matter, and my word in the matter was that I would not use Landmark distinctions for profit.
Right.
So, so therefore that was a good place for me to start because I could generate and distinguish and create new distinctions. And as I did that, it was not as fulfilling as I had hoped. It was more fulfilling working with you and more fulfilling working with Dave. Now, both of you came to me with relationships. I mean, he came to me for him and Carrie. You came to me, you and Lisa. But we've gone way beyond that.
Yeah.
And so somehow, you know, I started spinning into the quantum evolution. And I had a moment, I'll share this with you and then I'm going to shut up and we can just kind of look. But I was in, and I may have told you this, if I did, you can stop me. I was in my hotel room in Sacramento. And I did the quantum awakening meditation. And I had been doing the quantum awakening meditation every day. So many times, Robert, that I couldn't stand to hear my own voice one more time. I was thinking, I should get somebody else to record this for me so I can listen to them instead of listening to me.
Right.
And I never did that. And this one night, I had an out-of-body experience. Have I told you this?
No.
I've heard of out-of-body experiences. I don't know that I ever didn't believe people, but I didn't have anything to wrap my head around, so I didn't get it. So I never disputed it. I just listened. It wasn't an out-of-body experience like I'm laying down and I'm looking at me. However, I was laying down and I was looking at me. And the way I was looking at me was I had the experience of a light, and it's an experience, not real light. I don't think I saw real light. The experience of a light around me, and that was what was looking at me. So that was the me looking at me. It was so fucking weird. And I remember being fascinated, like, oh my gosh, so exhilarated and fascinated for, you know, what might have been a moment or seconds, I don't know. And at the same time, scared to death. It was just both there at the same time. And I knew I didn't want to lose it, but I didn't know what to do with it. But anyhow, I stayed with it until I guess I came back to normal and I got out of that bed, and that was the birth of the quantum evolution. And I started quantum work from that moment on, haven't gone back.
So let me ask you though, you were saying you were doing the quantum awakening, so you had created this meditative piece. So how did that happen?
Well, I was doing Arjuna's work, Arjuna Arda, you know, the guy who wrote the book. And he does a meditation called Radical Awakening. And Radical Awakening is where, you might remember where I would take you through seeing happening, and you just present seeing happening and then hearing and feeling. And then one day I was doing the Radical Awakening and I thought, wait a minute, we got to get more to a quantum level. If people can have this awakening experience, take it quantumly now. And then, so I started imagining going into the body to its smallest piece until you got to this quantum place. And the quantum place was nothing but consciousness and energy. Little explosions just happening. And that's life. And that's where I got to aliveness versus life. And aliveness being life is what led me to honoring life unfolding, that every explosion leads to something that's happening, and my job is to bring honor to that. And if I honor that, I give up trying to control it. That's kind of where that started from.
Yeah, that's great.
And the Heart Shift is the first program that I feel like I can do over and over again. And every time I do it, there's something new that comes out of it for myself and for those who are in it. Now, you can speak to that because you've done it 3 times now.
So how do you distinguish the Heart Shift different from the quantum work? I mean, you can't get to the quantum work without doing the Heart Shift, right?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
To me, the Heart Shift is coming face to face with the reality of quantum forgiveness. It's coming face to face with living with an open heart. So the practice of being open-hearted and walking in quantum forgiveness is the Heart Shift.
So quantum evolution, the quantum forgiveness it's actually a piece of everything, because you have to walk in that forgiveness.
It is a distinction inside of the quantum evolution. And one thing that I say, and it could be a quote, by the way, that we could use at some point if you wanted to, and that is, no matter what's happening, no matter what's the issue, no matter, quantum forgiveness is the answer.
Mm-hmm. Now that ties into what we had talked about on, I forget, maybe it was yesterday, or was it, maybe it was Thursday, like at the bottom of, like, you take everybody through this training, what are they left with? And I believe you said that no matter what, that you have peace
and tranquility.
No matter what.
In the face of anything.
In the face of anything. And that's where the quantum forgiveness would live.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. And so would you put the quantum forgiveness, would you mention that within that? I mean, because I think you have to tell people, I know it's like, if I know where I'm going, then I feel like I'm getting the roadmap about where I'm trying to go. Now, I don't know if everybody is that way or not.
I don't either, but I'm very open to what you have to say.
Yeah.
So where are you thinking I might say such a thing or mention such a thing?
I don't know, because it's like when you begin the program, what we're working on now is, do you tell people, this is where I want to take you to? This is where we're going. And I'm going to give you the processes and the ways to get there. And you just have to trust me with this, and I'll get you there. You do the work, we will get there. And we're on a journey together.
I do say that in the Heart Shift. In the beginning of the Heart Shift, I've said there's a lot of distinctions we're going to go through. But I promise you, you stay with me, you will have a heart shift, a shift at the level of heart where it will no longer be valuable to you to hang on to controlling what's going to happen, how people are in life.
Yeah.
That will disappear. And that is evidence of the heart shift. The quantum shift, because we're still working on it, I might say, you know, here's what I promise. I promise that at the end of this course, you will have peace and tranquility in the face of anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is a very big promise. And it's one that everybody wants.
It is. It's a huge promise. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm willing to make the promise because, like I said on Thursday night, I am flabbergasted at how much lies between us and this connection to spirit. I am flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And we can no longer, you know, it's a championship game and we can no longer treat it like it's a fucking walk in the park, because it is not.
No, it's not. Now, the other thing, man, is like, I mean, you are so passionate about it and you live it every single day. So if somebody's taking the training, how do they, it's like, I mean, because what I, even talking to people on Thursday night, you know, you get in the car and you got all the shit going on in your head and you got blah, 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 blah. How does that stay? I mean, if I don't keep it like as a effort to keep it in front of me,
Yeah.
my habitual shit is like, here you go, fucker.
It's how does it stay in existence? Is
Yeah.
what you're saying. How does it stay in existence? Well, that is going to be the work that we as the group, as the design team, get done.
And so I was wondering, because I know the thing that happens, see, when I talk to you, so, I mean, there are weeks when I don't want to have a coaching call. You know, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, right? But every time I go, it's like going to the gym, right? I don't want to go to the gym. Can I not go to the gym? Can I get out of going to the gym? Okay, go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
So I have that call and it's like, oh, fuck yeah. That's the way I get present to. So do you build into accountability? Like, is there do you have to, do we talk to the participants? Like, well, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I don't have is an answer.
Yeah.
But I'm committed to having the answer.
Yeah.
And that is the work I'm up to. I mean, it might be to authentically say, listen, there's only one way to keep this in existence. And that is to have a coaching call with me every week.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's it. See, that's the other thing. See, because then I was thinking, like, well, does this become like the business gets expanded? Because let's say that all of a sudden it's like, and at the end, there's another service where you say, people that I've trained, you can have a subscription service. Well, where every week, maybe it's not a coaching call, but one of our guys are going to check in with you if you kept in existence your promises to do your rituals, and maybe not the term rituals, but that's what they are. You know, it's a ritual. Yeah.
The only reason why I might not use rituals, I might, but the only reason I might not is because Tony Robbins uses rituals.
Yeah, but he can't trademark that term.
Maybe not, but I'd rather not be a copycat or a me too if I don't have to.
I get that, but I even know that when I got into Tony Robbins, I immediately, of course, I read about what he do. Well, I went and looked up all the NLP guys where he got all his shit, right?
Well, let me tell you, he was a seminar leader.
Oh, uh-huh.
He had the same coach I had.
Oh, I didn't know he was that.
They trained him, and he got sued by Landmark Education.
Of course he did.
And Landmark won.
Oh, yeah. So he had to.
That's why his first book, Awaken the Power Within, I think it's called.
Uh-huh.
His first book is all about NLP. he went to neurolinguistic programming.
Yeah.
And then he started developing other things, just like me.
Oh, I thought he started with those guys. Oh, he didn't. He started with the Landmark, with Werner. Oh.
He sure did.
I didn't know that. And then he went.
He doesn't talk about that. In fact, all of his coaches have to have done the Landmark Forum and the communication course.
Oh, didn't know that.
That's his prerequisite.
Oh,
at least
yeah.
it used to be. He pays for them to do it.
Anyhow, I thought maybe, I mean, I don't know. I've never, hearing a similar phrase never scares me off of somebody. And if somebody says, I trained with this, I go, well, of course you did.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm not saying no to it.
Yeah.
It's just a moment, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been using it. I've used rituals in a few of the trainings I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm now looking at this as the core to everything I do. And we'll decide if we're going to put ritual in or not. But maybe we might. So let's back up a little bit on this backstory.
Yeah.
Anything inside of all that gobbledygook that you can see that needs to be highlighted and starting to spin on?
Well, a lot of the things I really like I wrote down times mainly. It's all really compelling, I have to say. And I could see having each, I mean, I heard 6 distinct stories, right? And I mean, the thing about, the great one is like you with the blackboard and your brothers, and then I stopped writing because I just wrote things.
The physics book.
And then the physics book, and then of course the thing with JP. That's very like in the heart and deep. I just have time. And then I was really curious about the quantum awakening and where that came from. And then I really liked the part at 2:50 when you were talking about the heart shift and how that experience, all of that stuff is really distinct. And I think that I would love to get we can do it with an iPhone. The record's great, and I can plug in a really good mic. And I just actually wonder if I could use this, if I could chop this somehow.
Well, as we were talking, I started thinking, it's almost interview-like.
It is interview-like.
And the way that Zoom works, I can touch my screen and say, spotlight the video.
Uh-huh.
Now you just see me on a big screen, right?
No, I still see what I saw.
Oh, no, you know what it is? It doesn't do that. It does. It does it on the recording. So
okay.
You remember when I recorded in Fresno and I kept saying to Joanne, pin my video, and she did. And I said, well, it's not working because I can still see everybody. Well, if you go back and you watch the video, you can't. All you see is the whole screen is me, and you can hear the voices.
So it changes the recording.
Yeah, it changes the recording. So I just pinned my video, but what we could do in the future is I'll pin the video. I'll get rid of the board unless we want to use it for something. And you could ask me questions almost like an interview.
Yeah.
That might be more fun to chop up. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, and I think as the quantum evolution, as the idea of a packaging that goes along, the better that the quality looks, obviously.
Yeah. You were talking about the guy on
Mind Valley.
In Mind Valley. It's casual, but it's professional.
It is, right.
So for me, it's got to be casual because it is how I am.
Yeah.
I've looked back at videos where I tried to do it professional, and it took some of the casual out, and I don't connect to people the same way.
I agree. You know, even on the Fresno recordings, I don't know if you remember, I told you when I was watching it and you were sitting in the chair, and it's always those kind of, and those things I always love so much is like those kind of little sidetracks, and where it's kind of, oh, by the ways. And
little digressions.
Yeah, but it's like a little deeper into the distinctions. And this would happen in seminars a lot too. And I would see people kind of dive into their fucking notebooks and they're trying to get all the shit down. It's like,
oh.
And I was the same way, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're really talking about this aspect over here. And you're like, oh, fuck, I always blah, blah, blah. And I always thought that might be really cool, a whole other like product line to, I don't mean to sound weird, but you know, a different.
It is a product.
It's a different product line where it's like, here's something really interesting. Oh, wow, you know, and it could be a little lecture about that. Or I don't know, maybe as you're giving the things and the recordings get better, right? Because that's really what needs to happen. And it's like my friend Craig, he's very into video. And maybe the thing is, it's a better video system where when you present, it's not just the Zoom or this recording, it's like a good fucking recording.
Yeah.
And then, because that's the raw material, then you have some content to go back and go, chop that, get that, and it looks good. In fact, I was just looking at a video camera that they're pitching to musicians. That's super high quality video with super high quality built-in mics, this little camera.
Oh.
Because the same in my realm in music, I want the same thing. If I can get content because I'm out doing a gig, well, of course that's what I fucking want, right? Yeah. Because I've got good video, good audio. I don't have to go back and try and recreate that shit. It's already captured.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not that expensive, man. I think it's like in the couple $100. So I'll find that link and I'll get that to you, and I'll see what the reviews say about that. But I think because when you present, you're already doing it. The content's already there.
I went through YouTube and found all these 3-minute clips from Dead Poets Society. Okay,
and on that realm, Elias downloaded that movie.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So I haven't picked it up, but if that means he downloaded it, it's a file then that I can dump into my system and I can cut.
All right. Then I'll start watching it again from the point of view of cutting. And before I have you cut anything, I got to make sure that that's what I want.
Yeah.
Because there is a part of me that really wants the movie. But I'm not stuck on that yet. What I've got to do next, what I'll be doing, today's Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do tomorrow afternoon, it just so happens that I'm home this coming week. So I'll have more flexibility and opportunity. I'm going to do the whole program. And I'm going to record it. And you know, some of it will be good, some of it will be sloppy, some of it won't have shit to do. But I'm going to do the movie, I'm going to do the music, I'm going to run my mouth, and I'm going to direct them in their exercises. And then I'll feel what's missing or if this could work better.
Yeah. You know, in the thing of like the movies with the timeline life, I just saw, I didn't watch it again, but I'm sure you've seen Brokeback Mountain.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what happens to them. They have to choose a timeline life.
Yeah. And
it's just like, oh fuck, that's what they do. They turn away from, they know that what would make them complete and happy. And that's their whole life gets thrown away because they can't have that. They won't choose it. And it's just like,
it's also another expression of being forced into submission.
It is. And then Yeah, and they see no way out of it, which is kind of like in a spiritual death, which is
Well,
what.
there's a part of them that didn't listen. I don't know your experience of yourself, but I can just tell you, as a person who had to come out, there is, even though you know this is the real you, you want to be able to live that. There's another part of you that would really prefer to just be fucking normal.
Right.
And so, Brokeback Mountain, there was a little hope that if they just conform, they'll be normal.
Right. Right.
But anyway, okay. Well, I think we got a lot to work with. Yes.
Yes. And now, how can I access this recording? You send it a link to me? Is that
Yeah, I'll upload it to YouTube and send it to you.
okay? All right.
It'll take a couple hours because I have to leave and come back anyway. But now, before we stop, well, we're done with this work. But now let's talk about the website and compensation.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't thought about that.
Well, I know, and it's hard for you. And I had this thought last night. I was in bed and I was thinking about you. And I thought, okay, so I think, given I know you and I've coached you for a long time, where you're now going to need work is in the area of being able to sell yourself and charge for that. Because I can imagine you hoping somebody's just going to pay you. Like somebody's going to say, you know, oh yeah, this is good and this is worth this much money and I'll pay you. But no, I'm talking as a consumer now.
Yeah.
Are always looking for the best deal.
Right.
Some guy who loves what he's doing so much that he's going to do it for nothing. I'll find myself using him and not thinking, wait a minute, this guy just doesn't have a lot of strength in this area.
Right.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you about building websites, just from having had a few built, okay? People pay thousands of dollars for websites.
Yeah.
Now, do I think that you're at a place where you could charge thousands of dollars? Probably not. I mean, you haven't built, your own and now mine, and probably it's different now because those page builders weren't available.
Right.
So people had to build from scratch. But I will tell you what I am willing to invest. You consider it, and then we must put a timeline on it. Even if we have to fuck up the timeline, and here's the reason why, is because I really want this, and I'm not a 6 months from now kind of guy.
Right.
Yeah, and I realize it might take 3. I could be cool with 3. If it had to be 6, I could probably be fine with 6. But the truth is, I don't think it has to be.
No.
So I'm willing to invest up to $2,000 to have this thing built.
Okay.
And that would be building our idea, moving all my shit into it, and then of course you'll have to dick around with it once in a while just to tweak it. But it could be your first site that is a commercial site that you can use in your site to promote what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. And the other part I want to build into doing this type of thing is like the maintenance of. I don't know if you do that with your guy now, because it's like with,
I pay him $100 a month, and what he does is he goes in and he does all the updates, cleans it out, and he will post 2 videos a month for me.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about that yet. So
yours is going to be different. He uses, oh my goodness, I can't wait for you to get inside my site. It will boggle your mind. You'll be like, what in the hell? he's got so many things in there. I remember when he sold it to me, he said, "Oh man, you're going to love this site. It's going to be like what you have right now, but on steroids." And I love this guy, okay? But what I hated about him was I felt like he never listened to me. Because I said to him, I don't need steroids. A guy told me one time, don't build a mansion and think they're going to come.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get them coming, then you can build the mansion. So have something that works, that speaks to your audience, that expresses who you are. He just threw so much at me. Robert, I'm telling you, if I didn't know better, because he would take it seriously if I said it. But I started working with him and I had a fucking heart attack. And I feel like he put so much pressure on me.
That you had a heart attack.
Yeah, we need more videos. Tom, you got to get the videos done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is it really going to make that big a difference? Yes, you got to have them. Okay. And I would spend hours and hours making fucking videos. And they're on there, but they made no difference.
Yeah. You know, I got to...
Except in his defense, I got way better at doing videos. And had he not forced me to do videos, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. The thing about what he did, I just don't think he's a good designer.
Got it.
And,
yeah. He didn't think it through.
And just even how, I mean,
he's not artistic.
He's not artistic. And a lot of it is, it's like, see, what I like about where technology has gone for me is my strength is like, I'm a good designer. So when I choose an image and how this image hits this image and then this image, I mean, I'm looking, it's like, how do those flow? How does that work? Just like for my social dopamine, you know, I wanted it to look different than the music site because I wanted to look almost like, I'm not quite sure what this is. And then it says, you know, content for your social media, but I don't even say what it is because it just compels you off. This says click. Okay, click on that.
Yeah.
And then, so that's what I think my strength is. It's like to match up because I love archetypes and I love how people process information and how they're going to see it. And are they going to be compelled to even spend any time on it?
Yeah.
Because I know if it doesn't look good to me, I go, I don't care. I don't care what it says. You know, and if it's too confusing, people leave.
That's right. Confusion equals no.
It's and if they've got to figure it out, they'll leave. They won't figure it out.
They don't have anymore. Everything's pulling for our attention.
It's even like, you know, it's like I really got that when I was playing and doing that jazz thing. And, you know, people always say, man, you know, you look like Andy Warhol. And the drummer goes, you should just fucking give it to him. I thought, you're right. I should just fucking give it to him. Right? So I just chop my hair. So it's just, right? Because if I walk into a room, you look at me and you go, that guy's some kind of art fuck. And it's like, you're right. Because what's a business guy do? Wears a suit. He walks in the door. You go, that guy's a business fuck. Just nail it. That's all.
Yeah.
They're all just. It's right. It's archetypes. We put on a costume every day that says, "Look at me." And if people can't figure that out, they go, "I don't have the time. I'm not going to figure it out." That's like, in music, they talk about it all the time. You know, they say you got to fit in a box. It's because if you do this thing and you're like a smoking jazz guy, right? And then you turn around and go, "Oh, I'm kind of do this folk thing." They'll go, "No folk guy with my jazz guy." No.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I made up a different name for songs because I'm Robert Kuhlman, the jazz guy. I can't be this other guy because people go, "What the fuck? What? No, never mind. I don't want to. I have nothing to do with you, man. It's too hard." Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending the time with me today.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so I'm gonna. So we got a place to start. And we'll get
we
going.
have a place to start. What I'm thinking is when you've decided that you are starting.
Yeah.
Because I know you got a lot of things, right? and I'm not going to manage your time.
No, I know.
But when you say, okay, I'm going to start on the site, then I will give you $500 to start.
Perfect. Yep.
That work for you?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right. Nice. Fun, man.
Love you.
Love you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.